Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Wrestling. We're joined by Tim. Hi, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm good, Lee. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. So we've hit WrestleMania week this Saturday and Sunday. So this episode, we're just going to run through the matches and give our predictions.
And there are quite a few matches this time round.
Yeah. First of all, you're actually looking forward to this weekend. I think there's some really interesting matches on the card.
If I said to you I'm looking forward to most of the matches, some I can't make my mind up on at all. I think some of them have been badly booked, but overall, yes, I am. I think at the moment, I literally only caught up on wrestling possibly last night or this morning. There's been a lot going on. I think there's going to be a great year after WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot going on.
I think, when I've looked at the list of matches earlier, I actually think this is more of a setup for the next year than closing a lot of chapters, which I think is quite exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case.
Right, so let's get into our predictions then. You're the man with the list of matches, so we're going to head over to you.
Okay, so I've listed out matches for both Saturday and Sunday, according to Wikipedia, so we all know what that can be like. I think what we need to start with is what I think will open WrestleMania, and I think that's Jay and Gunther. If it doesn't open the Mania, I think they've wasted a lot of time over the past few weeks. Seeing what Jay has done, and especially what Gunther's done to Jimmy a couple of weeks ago, this match has got blood feud written all over it, and it needs to either open a Mania, close a Mania, or possibly be in a semi position. And you don't want to be in a semi above the two main events. So I think you've got to open night one with it, and I think Jay's got to win the belt.
I think, like you just said, WWE are quite good at putting title matches at the start or the end of their big shows. So I think you're right that he's definitely going to open the show. And I also agree. I think Jay's got to win, and he's a good merch seller. He raises a lot of money. So I think for a champion, it will be good. But the only issue is I think this title's been sort of demoted over the heavyweight title. So I do feel sorry for Jake. I think it is his time, but I think he's being given a belt that's not at its prestige like it used to be.
Yeah, I think what you're looking at is a very short title reign, 1 or 2 months at the most. He's got it because he earned it. He has worked his arse off, and I think Gunther as well deserves a lot of plaudits. So Jay's got to win it. I don't think it needs to go any more than about maybe 15 minutes. I just don't. As a starting match, you need it to be explosive. Lots of big high spots. Jay has to kick out of either like a power bomb, or I would probably go with the club he does at the back of the head, and he's got to hit an Uso splash to win the match. None of this surprise roll ups, because I think that will definitely not go down well.
And do you think we'll get a Jimmy interference as well, just a bit of payback?
No, but I think Jimmy comes out at the end of the match. I'm really worried that Jimmy comes out and screws Jay over for the title. That is something that crossed my mind. That would be a bad idea. Just let Jay win the belt. It will be a short title reign. He doesn't need to hold the belt for ages. It's just got to be one of those quick changes, and then we move on from that.
Yeah, I don't think they will do the screw-over job, because I think there will be a couple over the weekend, which we'll get into later. I think they're just going to open up with a feel-good moment. Everyone's going to be really happy for Jay, because like you said, he's earned it, and he's a crowd favourite. So I think it's going to be a nice, clean, open up the show, everyone's feeling happy, and then on to the next.
The next match on my list, and again, I've not gone with Wikipedia. I think what we'll do is the second match will probably be Ray and El Grande Americano, or should we really say Chad Gable? I mean, that match has got excellence written all over it. The work's being done by both guys. I mean, Ray's a Hall of Famer for a reason. He is that good. And Gable stroke Americano are doing really good work. Again, I think it's got to be Gable. Gable's going to win the match. I think it's going to be screwy. I think it's possibly going to come into place with this new thing he puts in the mask for the headbutt.
Yep.
And I think this feud will go on probably till SummerSlam, when it will be a big blowout, and it will just, that's it. I can't see it going much past that. I think both are really solid workers, but again, if you're going longer than 12 minutes for this match, I would be surprised.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think Ray's like good enough to give Gable the rub. But I also think we're going to have one of those sort of like Doink the Clown spots. Gable's going to end up under the ring. They're going to do a switch, and then Chad Gable's going to come out to attack Ray or something like that, just to show it's not Chad Gable.
My worry with that is Gable is such a unique, such a physical, and I'm going to harp on his horrible gimmick as when he was Shorty G. But it's a short stature of a guy. Trying to find somebody that's in a similar build as him, I think, will be difficult. You can do it. You can do it for long shots. I'm not sure you could do it for a short shot.
And obviously, we've seen WWE go down this route with the Hulk Hogan Captain America, but that was really poorly done. Do you think there's a worry that this could turn into that, or do you think WWE are handling it much better this time?
Definitely. That Mr. Hogan thing, Mr. America thing.
That's it, Mr. America. I said Captain America, Mr. America. That's how bad it was. I can't even remember what it was properly.
So bad. Such a bad gimmick.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to do this time is he'll beat Ray for a sneaky finish. I think he then runs through the LWO.
Yep.
I think we have another match where Ray beats him, and then I think we have some sort of stipulation match, the third and final match, where Gable gets like demasked. I've heard a lot of the ideas of a possible mask versus mask match, which works for me as long as Ray doesn't get remasked again.
I love demasking Ray.
I remember that in '99, and that was one of the worst things ever.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Gable's got to win that match, and that's got to be a really dusty finish, something like the Creeds mix up or something.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go for probably the last one to be added, which is the War Raiders versus the New Day tag. Now I'm really split with this one because I want New Day to win. I think they're probably due a tag run. However, I also want Big E to come out. Right. I think if you're going to do it, you've got to strike while the iron's hot. They did such a good job with the heel turn at the end of last year, and it's almost been put on a chill for a reason. Big E doesn't ever need to wrestle. I don't need him to do that, but he needs to come out and he needs to address them, whether it's at Mania or possibly on the night after Mania on Raw. He needs to come out and he needs to address them. Really torn. I love the War Raiders. Their work has been fantastic. Fly around. They really do. So for me, I'm going to go New Day with this one. I think they're going to win, but I think then Big E needs to come out and just give them a dressing down.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think, like you said, by putting it on hold, it's for a reason. What was the point of turning them heel and then having them lose? I think they're going to, as you said, they're going to win, and then we're going to have a heel tag team.
My worry is Raw's tag team division isn't anywhere near as stacked as SmackDown's. I don't see where they need to go unless they start moving tag teams over to Raw. I don't know how you do that. So New Day probably makes sense if you're going to keep the belts for a long time. And by a long time, I mean probably closer to SummerSlam before they drop those belts. And lovely work from the War Raiders. They're looking great. They really do. I think you can get another couple of matches out of this long term, and then move on afterwards. Give them something to get their teeth into. I think that one works for me. The next 4 matches, because there's 7 matches on Saturday that have been penciled in.
Right.
We'll go with another title match, and that's LA Knight versus Jacob for 2.
Yep.
That's for the US belt.
I think, unfortunately, this is going to be LA Knight's not going to win this one. This is setting up Jacob and Solo for a run into SummerSlam, and they're going to use a title as a sort of carrot to dangle. So I think Jacob's going to win, and Soho is going to be jealous that he's got a title, and it's going to split them up to start feuding.
You see, this is the one I'm struggling with, because
Right.
a win for either team works really well. Works exceptionally well. Jacob's ready for a title. He's ready to go to that next level. As we said the other week, he's better in his position than Solo was when he was pushed. I think if you put the US title on him, I think that's a great idea.
It's not a massive title, so he hasn't got the pressure of having to carry a big title, but it's a title established enough to give him that sort of build up to be able to then move on. I think like laying the steps properly this time, because like you said, with Solo, they just sort of chucked him into that position and it didn't work out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. The flip side to that is LA Knight has only had the belt, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
It is the belt that seems to be moved around like a hot potato. It's getting moved around a lot. There's obviously he's held it twice. Shinsuke's held it before. I suppose if you're going to have, so I remember that one. If you're looking at if you're looking at a belt, I suppose that you want as a short term, this would be it. But again, it's where Solo gets included, and I'll mention the other concern I have is we're going to move this to another 4 corners match, because we're recording this on the Wednesday before, so we don't know what's going to happen on the final SmackDown.
Right.
Orton's not got a match at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Neither has Braun Strowman, and neither has Solo. I worry we're going to turn this into some sort of crazy 6-man match where the belt goes up and it's all crazy, if you know what I mean. That is a worry. I don't think you need to do it. I think if you keep it sensible, you do Jacob beating LA Knight, and then you give Braun some time off, but you go Randy Orton versus Solo, and that's only got to be 6 minutes or so in length, that match, because it doesn't need to be a long match. I want Jacob to win, but it to be a hard-fought victory. His matches against Braun lately have shown he's a really tough guy, but he needs to be pushed to the limit, and otherwise anything less will make LA Knight look weak, because he's still over like Rover. The guy is so over, it's unreal.
And this is why I feel sorry for him, because I think he needs a decent run. But like you said, because they moved the belt around like a hot potato, it feels like he's very stop-start with his character development. And I think since last year, really, I think he's got to that point where if he had a very good push and a very good run, he could be a real top superstar. Because he's got this Steve Austin gimmick, he's over in the crowd. He's a decent wrestler, and he's got so much better on his mic skills that I think he deserves that longer push. But unfortunately, I think they need the US title to develop their Jacob Solo storyline, so I think he's going to lose it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it is going to be a Jacob win with a Solo possibly then turning on Jacob, or it coming very soon. I don't see that's not going to be something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be them two at SummerSlam. I think that's what they're going to work towards.
I think it goes before then. I think it goes much. Yeah. Jacob's got WrestleMania main event written all over him within the next 2 years, I think. So next up, I've gone with Jade Cargill and Naomi.
Right.
This is a weird build This is a very, very weird build for me. Jade has the win. Anything less than a Jade win will really confuse me. The build-up has been for her to win that match, as far as I'm concerned. Again, Naomi's probably the right person for Jade to get through a good WrestleMania match. Doesn't need to go on any longer than 8 minutes. It's a nice, short, violent burst with Jade winning the match, and she's drawing a line underneath it, and that's it, done and dusted. I'm looking forward to seeing how Naomi works as a heel. But for me, Jade's got to win that one.
No, I agree. I think it was a nice little thing to bring Jade back into her time off. So, as you said, get it done and dusted, draw a line, and then let her start moving through the women's division. So, yeah, I agree with you as well. It has been a weird build because they obviously was heading everything at Naomi that she did the attack, and then I thought it was going to be one of those twists and turns when it wasn't Naomi, and then it was Naomi, and it was just like, oh, okay. And now Jade's going to beat you up. So it's like, oh, okay. So I haven't really been that invested. I like Naomi as a single wrestler as well. And like you said, I think Jade just needs a real strong victory so they can start moving forward properly.
For me, she needs to then, once she gets past Naomi, is to go after Chelsea Green and have a really good feud there. I see her as the US champion. I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah.
She looks great, by the way. Her presentation is fantastic. So I think this will be a good match, but I don't think it'll be a long match. The last two are the two most controversial. So we've got the one that I'm really unsure about, and that's Tiffany and Charlotte. Because there are some seriously blurred lines in this one.
Yeah.
Really badly. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where we go with it.
And to be honest, I don't think they actually know because I think Charlotte's got the balls to go into business for herself. So if she gets pitched during the match and she wants to pin her, she's just going to pin her. I don't think...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I hope they can stay professional and whatever the agents are booked, they're going to follow. But as I said, like Charlotte just won't give a damn.
Yeah. I think it depends where you go after Mania for this.
Yeah.
Because with the rumours of some of the people returning, you've got to start looking at what goes next. If Charlotte has the belt, you need a good face to take her. And I don't think SmackDown's got a particularly strong roster of good baby faces. I think you're going to see Tiffany win.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more potential for matches in the long run. I think that's where you go. It's a tough one. And as you said, if Charlotte wanted to go into business for herself, we wouldn't be surprised. We really wouldn't be surprised. Which leads us up to the main event of night one.
I'm going to say something a bit controversial. I don't think this should have been main event of night one. I think Rhea and Io, and that should have been main event. I think this is only being given, obviously, because of Punk doesn't know how long he's got left. He's returned, and this is the one thing he hasn't done his main event of WrestleMania. I think this should have been an opener of night one or an opener of night two.
Okay, so I'm with you to the point I think it should have been a semi. I think this is the match you probably put. The irony is I actually don't think it should be that. If the build had been a little bit better, I'd have gone with Tiffany and Charlotte for night one. I think that's the way it should have gone. Essentially, we've got two main events without the two Royal Rumble winners. You had to do one or the other. And I think if you've got Cena and Cody in one, then you need the other one should be the women's. But I think I think it was going left far too easily.
Yeah.
You could see the promos. You could see the promos with the Charlotte and Tiffany. But this match has got potential to probably be match of the night.
Yeah.
I think with the Paul Heyman little thing coming in, that was interesting.
This is the big question. Where's Paul going to go? Is he leaving with Seth? Is he siding with Punk? Or is he back on Roman? I haven't got a clue. At the moment,
really
I'm trying
strange.
to think.
Yeah, no, for me, it's really strange because all three characters are baby faces.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've ever seen a triple threat where they're just three baby faces that will get pops from the crowd all the way through at different
But the problem
points.
is, Roman's not really a babyface. His character hasn't changed. It's just because he went away the way he's come back and the way the bloodline went and all that stuff, we've made him the babyface.
He was getting pops and cheers
Before
Mania 40.
Yeah.
So he was always going to be a good guy when he comes back. I'm a Rollins guy. I love Rollins. I could watch him wrestle like for hours. So for me, I'd like to see him win. I don't think he will. I don't think that if he wins, he turns heel and he takes Heyman with him, and I think that's a bad idea.
Yep.
Because Punk's still going to get cheered unless he changes his music. He's just going to get cheered no matter what. So I don't think it's going to be him. I think he takes the pinfall. I think he's been brought in purely and solely to save an ego. And I think Punk beats Rollins, which will lead to what you've essentially then got is you've got lots of different singles matches you can do throughout the year. I think Punk wins that one for me. I think Heyman is going to end up leaving with no one. I think they're all just going to abandon him. And I think that's the way they want to go with it.
So I agree. I think Punk's going to win because this was what it's building up to. He's never main evented the WrestleMania, and there's no point giving him the main event if you're not going to give him the win. So I think Punk's going to win, but I think Heyman is still siding with Roman, even though I think that push on SmackDown last Friday was a little ruse to make Seth and Punk feel there's tension between Heyman and Roman. I think Heyman's still on Roman's team at the moment, and I think that's how. I think he's going to try and do Punk over or something. I agree Seth's going to take the pin, but I think Punk's going to do something and still win. Or we could go really crazy. This is like a dream scenario. Everyone's laid out. Paul Heyman does like a whistle. Ambrose comes down from the crowd. And then we've got Punk with the original Shield like it was meant to be all those years ago. And they just all walk out together.
There's no hope that one's coming out. No hope. But it would
you
be
can only
quite
dream, can't you?
Yeah. I think we're going to come into a Rollins Reigns series of matches. I think that's coming through. I think Punk winning means he can probably go after a belt. That would be where I go with that. Punk
is because of his age and body, and he's fighting against two great geezers. Like he's very injury prone. This could cause an injury this match, and not on purpose.
No, I get that. I absolutely get that. Rollins' back is in pieces.
Yeah.
He's another one that could probably do with going away for a bit just to recover. Yeah. And if Becky's coming back, maybe that's not a bad shout. They then essentially just tag Becky coming in and he's then spending some time at home. He's been working solidly, 18 months?
Yeah.
He's doing great work, but I imagine he needs a break. So
I think he was battered after last year's WrestleMania and come back quite quick after that. And I don't think he needed to. I don't think he's done his body a world of good. So this might be the way of getting him off TV.
Yeah. But because it's a triple threat and the strange triple threat rules are that obviously triple threats are no disqualifications, somebody's eating the chair shot.
Yeah,
100% somebody's eating the chair shot. We're going to see stomps. You're going to see spears. You're going to see.
And that table's gone.
Yeah, that one. It's all
Everything.
going crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely going to go mental. So I think Punk beats Rollins and Reigns is just left destitute somewhere down the line.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like we just said, yeah, I think it's definitely a Punk win. I like your theory that Heyman's going to probably leave with no one because it gets him off TV for a bit, and then when he does return, he can be with a younger star because he's very good at bringing people up. Punk's established, Reigns is established, Rollins is established. So they don't really need Heyman. So then that gives Heyman the opportunity then to reset, and this is his new protege, and then bring someone up maybe from NXT or someone lower down the roster.
That match is going to go over 25 minutes, without a doubt.
I think it's going to take about 10 minutes for their entrances.
So 10 minutes plus the 25 minutes afterwards. I think you're looking at three guys that could go that distance and it not look too bad. But that's my.
And they're great story. All three of them are great storytellers. So I don't think it's going to be a spot match. I think there is going to be a build. I think there's going to be some form of story told, and I think they're the three guys that can actually pull that off as well.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. Brings us up to Sunday. So many really dodgy matches on Sunday. If I'm honest. We'll start with the women's tag match. I'm going to be very brief about this. If Liv and Raquel do not win this, then
what's the point?
That's insane. Liv Morgan, I got it right in the end. Liv Morgan has been probably the best wrestler for the last 14, 15 months. She has worked phenomenally well. Her ring style is so much better. She's telling greater stories. Her promos are unreal at the moment. Absolutely unreal. I can't see anything other than them winning. And probably Lyra and Bayley falling out. I've heard, again, Bayley going for a heel run. I'm not sure I know how I feel about that. It worked for a little while last time. I'm not sure you need to do it.
No.
But, yeah, that for me, it's a simple match. It's a simple result.
And also, and we're going to get onto it in a bit, I actually think they're breaking up the Judgment Day this Sunday, so they need something to go into away from the group. So being the women's tag champion Raquel, I think leaves her perfect to be able to still do her thing. But we'll get onto that a bit later when we get to the Intercontinental match.
I'll tell you what, let's just go straight in there now. So we got Braun, Penta, Finn, and Dom for the Intercontinental. This could well be the most fun match.
Yeah,
I love all of these guys. Penta's come in and been amazing. I don't know what WWE did. I watched him in some of his matches in AEW, and he looked great.
Yeah, like
now he's unreal. He is the guy who, if they turn around and said he's going to get a title shot at some point, I would be, yeah, that sounds fair enough. Braun looks ready. He's ready to go up to the next level. I think that's the point. We're all ready for him to go up. Finn Balor is one of my favourite wrestlers at the moment.
Yeah.
Has been, again, for probably about the last 10 years. He's just a character guy. I think he's going to be the guy that gets screwed by the Judgment Day. I think he's going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
And obviously Dominic Mysterio, for as much hate as there is on the internet about this guy, I actually think he's wrestling really well.
Yeah. And he's also doing his job because he's there to be the big heel. And he's beating the big heel. Everyone hates him. And that's exactly what he's there for. And this is where I've been umming and erring. So I think Dom or Finn's going to win and the other's going to screw the other one over, if that makes sense. But I don't know which one because I want it to be Finn. And I think he's going to then screw Dom. But I also think Dom deserves it. And I know, like you said, the other two, but I think the other two have got time to be elevated down at SummerSlam. I think it needs to be one of these two just to break up the Judgment Day. Because in a way, Judgment Day sort of went downhill when they took Damien away. I don't think it's been as strong as a faction as it was with Damien and Veer at the helm. So I think it's time now to separate them, and I think this is the best way. But I do hope they do put it on Dom. I'm nothing, but I think Dom deserves it.
Yeah, I'm really torn. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Dominic, much like you.
Yeah.
It's either Dominic or Bron. These are the two I can only see, but it's going to be Balor that eats the pin.
Yeah.
I think get ready for this one because this one's really out there. I think you're going to see JD McDonough come back and screw Finn over.
Right, okay.
And that will kick him out of the Judgment Day. We're back to the three idiots back in there. And Finn's going to then work his way up. And I think if you give the belt to Dominic, Finn's got to make his way through the whole of Judgment Day to then capture the belt. Again, Dominic doesn't need to hold that belt for very long. I think it's going to be funny. The amount of heat that happens, it could ironically be even worse than some of the other title switches that are going to happen as well. We'll talk about Priest and McIntyre next.
Yeah.
This is going to be fantastic. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be horrible. And Drew's going to win that.
Oh, I think Priest is going to win it. I agree with it. Yeah. I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I think on everything you said's correct. And I think Priest, because again, I just think McIntyre's a star. And I think it will elevate Priest more because I know he was the champ for a bit, but again, he was the second champ, a bit higher in the Continental, but he weren't up there with his run. But having like a McIntyre in a fantastic match on his resume, I think it just helps elevate him again. And I think he needs that elevation after. And it won't hurt McIntyre. So I think it's fine.
I'm going to give you the answer why I think it's going to be why McIntyre needs the win. Because I think after this, he's going into a feud with Cody.
Right, okay.
And he doesn't need to win that feud with Cody at all. He needs to stay away from that entirely. So he needs that win, as far as I'm concerned. It'll be brutal. There's going to be chair shots. There's going to be tables. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another windscreen broken.
Do you think it could be fight of the weekend?
I think it has potential. My fight of the week is gonna shock you. I think Drew's got to win this. I think it's got to be brutal. They've got to batter the living crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And then, for want of a better word, draw a line underneath it, move past it. Drew can have, as I say, we've got Randy now. Now that KO's out of action for at least the next year, I'm hearing.
Well,
you could do a good Randy and Drew feud. I said, I think he's going to fight Cody coming up. I think that's where your money is. That's got great matches written all over it. There's history with them as they were both tag team champions together. There's something you can do there because we'll come on to what I think is going to happen to Cody afterwards, and it makes more sense. So for me, that's why I think McIntyre wins. Although I think Priest needs to make sure he's getting his dues. So it cannot be a squash match. We'll next go up with, sorry Lee, I think this is going to be the match of the night. We're going to go with AJ and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the match. I think it's going to be the match of the night. I hate the fact that Logan Paul is so good. Really does.
And his style with AJ is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. AJ is going to get all the best out of Logan, and Logan's going to give it.
Absolutely. So, and I'm going to be that guy as well. I think Logan Paul's got a win as well.
I agree, but they've just brought AJ back, haven't they? So do they give him the rub?
I think he's got to give the rub to Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a Karrion Kross AJ feud. that really goes. Having watched.
So do you think Karrion Kross is going to be involved in this to sort of set that up so Logan can get the win, but it's not just a...
I think it's going to be an accident as well, or an accident.
Yeah.
But I think it is going to steal the show. I think I hate the fact that it's going to steal. I could be wrong. I said a couple of years ago when AJ fought Edge, I thought that was going to steal the show, and it really didn't. But this one really, I think, is made. We'll go on with Io, Bianca, and Rhea.
Yeah. I'm giving this to Io.
Wow.
Because they've sort of, the last couple of weeks, has sort of been pushed out as the action's been happening and stuff. And I think they're setting that up for her to have this miraculous win.
You reckon?
Yeah. I wanted it to be Rhea because I love Rhea. So anytime Rhea fights, I will just want Rhea to win. I won't even look at what's going on. I'll just be like, yeah, she needs to win. But I honestly think, yeah, the way they're lining this up, she's going to retain.
I think it's going to be Bianca, and I think she is going to pin Io.
Right, okay.
For no other reason than it should have been Bianca and Rhea. There's no other way. Don't get me wrong, I love Io. I think she's absolutely fantastic. She's so positive in her character direction. I really enjoy watching her. But I think they want to protect a Bianca Rhea feud. I think there's potential that could main event next year's WrestleMania if done properly.
Yeah.
I think they're going to build on the fact that Bianca has never lost at WrestleMania.
Good point, yeah.
I think she's going to pick up the belt. I think she's going to turn heel, which would be really interesting. She's been acting a little bit more heelish of late. So she's starting wearing a lot more black than the colourful that she comes across.
Yeah.
I think she's going to win the belt. She's going to be a heel champion. And I think they're going to work to build a really good program with Rhea. And that, for me, works.
That should lead us on to...
Yes.
No, but listen, my mind's changed within a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I now think John's going to win, and only because an interview I saw the other day with Triple H, and when he explained the reason why they turned John heel, when he was like, we haven't done it, everyone's been crying out for it, so sod it, let's just do it. I think he's going to sort of have that same attitude. So, the only question I've now got, is he going to leave a face or a heel? So I definitely think Cena's winning now. I just don't know which direction he's leaving.
I said to you a couple of weeks ago, Cena's got to win the belt now. It's absolutely imperative. His promos have got more and more interesting. He's gonna deliver one on SmackDown, which will be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially after the crossroads he got. So I am curious to see how it goes. And as I said to you, I think what you have then is you'll then have a Cody and a Drew feud that will keep him out of the title picture for a while. Gives John Cena an opportunity to do some matches that we're looking forward to. We've got a rematch of the Randy Orton one. I don't think that would be a bad match.
No.
I think we're going to get a CM Punk Cena match for the title, which would be amazing. I think you've got the likes of Priest that could do with a nice, good push. Imagine LA Knight versus John Cena match for the title.
That'd definitely be a year.
Exactly. So I think for me, John Cena has to win the belt. I think The Rock's going to help him win it. I did hear something from a YouTuber I watch who said he felt that at the end of the match, Rock and Cena are going to do a bit of a beatdown, and Austin is going to come down and help Cody out. I'm not sure whether that happens, but that would be the feel good factor.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't see Cena not winning this match.
Cena leaves heel still.
Yeah, the end of the match, without a doubt.
And when do you think do you think they're going to turn him face before the end of the year?
I think that happens around SummerSlam. I think we're going to have a couple of
Right.
months.
Yeah.
This going home with the ball attitude is not going to happen. Somebody's
No.
going to say something. They're going to force him back in. He's going to have to. He's going to have to compete. They'll make it something like, oh, he has to defend the belt every 30 days or something. They'll push him to do it. And so, yeah, it works for me. I think
Yeah.
that's the right idea. Cody is still trying to push the idea that there is a good person inside John Cena. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's when you'll get the switch. And that's
Yeah,
the
that
only way
makes
that will
sense.
work. I think you probably finish War Games with Rock versus Cena.
Yeah.
As I say, I think he's doing good work. I like
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Weirdly enough, it's some of his best work in
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah, definitely. I say I quite like it. And as I've said to you before, I think Cody is always a better chaser than he is as a champion.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to do that is to start building the guys around him, which is
Yeah.
why you see the likes of uh, McIntyre. I think we're going to see a Randy Orton Cody match at some point, whether that's next year's Mania event or something. There's a lot of potential if we look at it like that.
He was never meant to be a long-term champ. His story was ending his story last year. And then because of The Rock interjected himself and whatever, they've had to pivot for a year again, which means, and yeah, like we said, he's done great. He's a workhorse.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's a better chase. He needs to lose. He needs to have some time away. Then he needs to come back and say, I'm going back for my belt, whoever's got it when he comes back. But he definitely needs a break as well, I think. I think they can wear him out. So I think, yeah, this would be the best time. He's going to get the beat down, like you said, at the end. He's going to be off TV for the next month or so. John's coming in on Raw Mondays doing the old I'm taking the ball home gimmick. This is the last time you're going to see the champion. Someone's going to come out and be like, no, and it's going to keep John there. I reckon that's all going to happen on Monday.
I think what people do remember is they saying, "Oh, we need a good happy feel at the end of WrestleMania."
No.
It's what you need. We didn't have a happy ending at 16. There wasn't a happy ending at 17. Like we've been screwed over for endings for WrestleMania before. I've got no dramas with them doing it again.
And I think that's what, now it's a two-nighter, I think that's what night one's for. I think night one's for your feel-good thing of the show, and also to close a lot of stories. Night two, in a way, is the beginning of the new chapters, because the way I'm starting to see WrestleMania over the last couple of years now, it's not the end of the year, it's the start. Because that's where all your stories then lead off for the following year.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think, like you said, there's now going to be a lot of times where it's not a feel-good end. And I'm okay with that because it then builds up to the... And I think I'm okay with it now because it's on Netflix and in a way it's free, a lot more freer, as in it's only like £5 instead of paying £25. You don't mind not feeling too happy when by paying 25 quid and then not getting what you want. You feel a bit more like you've been robbed. So I think they can do it now. It's on a streaming platform. People will, I don't know about people buy tickets to go and watch it, but I mean, the home crowd won't feel as bad if they don't get what they want because they haven't spent out a load of money.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think for me, the product feels better.
Yeah, 100%.
I know we've had a few issues. There's been a few hiccups of late, but I think the product is better. As I said, some people need to just go away for a little while just to recuperate, just to feel better. Under the McMahon regime, people working 300 days a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now that they're not, I think the company's a lot better. Everybody seems a little happier. People are willing to work harder.
I think the only issue you've got, and you're going to get this because it's such a big corporation now, there's always going to be hiccups. We were back in the day of the Attitude Era, there was like 15 wrestlers that they had to rely on, and they had to work on both shows. It was a smaller group of people working each other, which made it a lot easier for things to run a lot smoother. Now you've got a corporation. How many wrestlers are there now? If you include NXT, you're probably looking close to 100, aren't you?
Probably looking at about 140.
And you've got to try and get everyone a bit of TV time. And everyone's human beings. We all have a bad day at the office. Unfortunately for these guys, they have the bad day at the office live on TV. And it's there for the world to see. So things ain't always going to click, but it's a corporation. It's a business at the end of the day. And I think since going on Netflix, like you said, there has been some hiccups, but I think overall, like you said, it's a 100% much better product. And I think under Triple H, it's a so much better product as well.
Definitely. Can't disagree with that. I have a question for you. And
okay.
Hopefully a question for people to make comments on. All right. Yeah. Having caught up with all of my wrestling of late, I have been watching a lot of people getting speared.
Okay.
My question to you: who delivers the best spear?
Bob Baker.
Yeah. I think so too. But we've also you've got Roman's there. Jay does it. Who else is on the list that does it? You've got. I mean, if you go back, you've got Edges. Goldbergs. There are a lot of people out there. It would be good to hear what people think is the best spear in all of wrestling.
So as Tim just said, let us know in the comments who delivers the best spear. Thank you very much, Tim, and
seriously,
see you after WrestleMania, mate.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Have a good one.